Hi, this is what we're calling an equivalence video where we show what can be achieved currently in MX and how to carry out the same operation using the open roads technology workflows. So we'll be dipping into MX Select Series 4 and the Open Roads Designer Early Access version. This video is going to cover what we can do in surface analysis currently in MX and how to achieve the same results in Open Roads Designer. So here we are in MX where I have a 3D string model which I've imported via GenIO, I think in this case. And as we can see, it contains a 3D model with spot levels and features. Now, in order to use surface analysis, the first thing I'm going to do is to triangulate the model. So we simply go to File, Analysis, Triangulate, Triangles from a string model, and we pick our string model, and we pick our model to store our triangulation in. We can give various boundary details and also various trimming details, which I'm not going to in the first instance, and we simply apply that. Sorry, we give it a triangulation string name, existing triangles, and I'm going to trim OK on that. And apply. And we should get displayed our triangulation. We can come back and tidy this up at a later date if we wish to, but for now I'm going to leave it as is. So alternatively, we could simply, and I'm just going to delete this string model, this triangulation model. We could simply go straight into the surface analysis wizard with our string model, and it triangulates it on the fly, and we can display our triangulation. This is probably a better way because it automatically trims it to suit the model that we have. So that's how we create a triangulation and display our triangulation in MX. So if we go into Open Roads Designer, at the moment we currently have nothing displayed. We have no terrain model or anything like that. So first thing is I'm going to import a terrain model from a file. There are several ways of doing this, but this is probably the most straightforward if you've got data inside of MX at the moment. So importing data from a file, we simply pick our model.fill, and it reads the model file and picks out all the models that we have in this model file. I'm going to pick the one that we were using previously, and as far as importing the terrain model goes, this is a new terrain model, so we can't append to it existing, and I'm going to give it a feature definition of existing triangles. Edge method, I'm not going to use anything for the time being, and I'm just going to import the terrain, and we hit import on that, and we can see we have our triangulation. If we go to our properties window and pick our triangulation, we can start looking at this. Now I'm going to change the feature definition to existing triangles, and it changes it to a nice green colour. You can see here again, as per in MX, there are overlapping triangles. So again, what we can do is we can go to our triangulation and we can start playing around with the triangulation. So we can edit our some of our calculated information by simply changing the length of the triangles, which we can do under edge method down here. We can either use a sliver, which reduces it further, or we can use maximum edge length. The default is 100, but you can change that. You can simply, if you want to change that further, you can simply type in 50. So as you can see, we've now got a very similar triangulation to what we had inside of MX. So what else do we do with surface analysis? Well, if we go back to MX, we can show contours, and I'm just going to turn off the spot level so that we get something a bit clearer. And if we hit contours, we can use our normal contour interval of 1 and 5. Contour colors, we can put level annotation in here, and we can smooth if we wish to as well. And we simply hit next on that, and we get our contours. If we want to go through the process again, we have to go back and we have to change our contour interval, prominent and normal contour interval, and reprocess it again. And if we want to change the colors, we've got to go through and reprocess again. So that's how we deal with contours inside of MX. If we go back to OpenRose Designer and use our properties window, which I'm going to pin for the time being, we can simply go to our terrain model element, and you can see under the properties window, triangles is turned on. We can turn triangles off. For contours, you'll see there are going to be two features: major contours and minor contours, and you can see these are displayed pretty quickly. If we go back to contours, here the high level contours feature, we can change our major interval to 10 quite easily, and our minor interval to 0.1 quite easily as well. And you can see this information changes on the fly very, very quickly. If we want to change the colors, we can simply go to color by level, color that we can change. And if we want to change the line style as well, we can change to solid. And the same with our minor contours as well. If we want to change the color and the line style, we can change those fairly quickly as well. You can also turn on any smoothing you like. So if we want to turn on vertex smoothing or spline smoothing, you'll see you'll get the smoothing done as well. And also, if we want to label them as well, we can label the text interval on major and minor contours individually as well. So that's how we do the equivalent contour information inside of OpenRose Designer. Back to MX again, and in the surface analysis wizard, there are several other things we can do. So for example, level bands. We can create some level bands. Again, this runs through and does take a little bit of time to process, but you get the nice level bands that we're familiar with in the surface analysis wizard. And of course we can do the same thing with slope bands and aspect bands. We can also produce flow arrows, and if we hit next on that, again it takes a little bit of time because it's reprocessing the triangulation, but you see we get flow arrows on there. And back to anything else we want to do in the surface analysis wizard. Now in OpenRose Designer, a lot of these things are done via the display settings. So in the first instance I'm going to turn off my contours, but what we can do is we can then show our display style as thematic height, which is what we showed inside of MX. We need to have the triangulation turned on, and there we get our thematic height. And there are several other themes that we can show as well: thematic height, aspect angle, and slope angle. So you can see very similar types, and you get a key over here as well, but it's very, very quick compared to how you do it inside of MX. Okay, I'm going to turn this back to wireframe, and we get our triangles back. The last thing we did in MX was to show calculated features, was to show flow arrows, and you see we can instantly turn flow arrows on and off. And there are a couple of other things, high and low points, so we can turn on high points, and it gives us, I'm just going to turn the triangles off, it gives us all the high points on a particular terrain, and the same with low points as well. See here, and it annotates afterwards that it's a low point. And the final thing I want to show is just turning on spot levels as well, so you can easily turn on spot levels from our terrain as well. So just one final thing to mention here, we've imported the terrain from our MX features, but you say you want to see the actual features, the what we call a string model as well. So you can easily turn that on by using a reference file. So if we turn on a reference file and attach, I know that the model that I have in my project, the DGN I created earlier, was called survey. So I can go and find survey.dgn, and you can now see that our terrain model, and we have our features as well, our individual features as well, which are fully snappable, is inside of our DGN by using reference files as well. So that's really all I think I wanted to show. There's quite a bit more certainly in the terrain modeling inside of OpenRose Designer, but this is a short equivalence video on how to do some things in MX and then how to do the same thing in OpenRose Designer.